What? No, I did early action for most of my schools, so I should be hearing back like mid-January-ish, mid-December.
Okay, welcome. Thank you all for coming tonight. The board just met in executive session to consider matters leading to the employment, appointment, discipline, dismissal, or removal of a person or persons and proposed pending or current litigation. If you can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, I forgot. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wait, don't leave yet. Thank you so much. You haven't been to our board meeting yet. You were here last week, right? Okay, or 2 weeks ago. Thank you very much. You can introduce yourself to everyone one more time. Because we have new guests. Introduce yourself to everyone here. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Grace.
So as you notice, we're a little bit lighter tonight. There are only 4 trustees in attendance, and this created a little anxiety this week. Our 3 esteemed trustees unfortunately had to attend to other matters and are unable to make it here. But fortunately, we have a quorum. 4 for this board is a quorum. We are unable to conduct and transact business if we don't have at least 4. But there's another part to this, and I'm going to ask my trustees a little bit of a pop quiz. As you know, I'm not crazy about testing. This is an important test. We're 4 people here. How many trustees do we need to pass a motion tonight? Oh man, you have a lot of test anxiety, Maria. I could tell you look nervous. I'm asking you.
I mean, is it a quorum of the trustees who are present, or a quorum of the full trustee board? I honestly don't know.
I'm going to tell you, New York state law requires that it's a majority of the board, not a majority of who is present. So that means for a motion or resolution to pass tonight, all 4 of us must vote yes. Excellent, excellent. So tonight might be exciting, right? There might be some twists and turns. The fate of our children's education
Biting my tongue right now.
are in the hands of us 4 tonight. Okay. A lot of unity needed. So let's get started with the approval of the minutes. November 9th, any comments?
Thank you, Betty, for getting them perfect again.
Hearing no comments, I accept the minutes as is. They're approved. We're going to move on to the treasurer's report, which is action 4, and action 5, the approval of the claims audit report. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, heard a second. Any questions or comments? The treasurer's report is from July 2023, and the claims audit report is October 2023. I'm waiting for you to say something.
2 treasurer's reports and 2 claims audit reports. Yeah. Sorry.
It's the treasurer's report is July. Oh, yes, you're right. July and
Got it,
August,
sorry.
right?
What I was going to say was, again, a really hearty thank you to our business office. I mean, it's documents that we do get are comprehensive. They're beautiful. They're easy to read. Sometimes we literally don't have questions because they're easy to understand, actually.
Did you see what the claim
And the claims.
audit report? How many exceptions, Maria?
I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry. That's
Who
zero?
knows?
I think it might be
Zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Okay.
Unanimous.
Excellent. Okay, we'll keep it going. We're now moving to the Ava DeFeo, our amazing SGO president. We missed you last time.
I know. It's like sickness is going around like crazy. I had pneumonia, but I'm feeling
Oh.
better. Yeah, I feel like everything's kind of been moving in slow motion since we got back from Thanksgiving break, honestly. But we did a food drive for Thanksgiving leading up to Thanksgiving. And it ended the Tuesday before break. I want to say that was like the 7th, or maybe I'm wrong. And we actually ended up raising a lot of food for local food drives. We did a competition between the classes again, and actually the sophomores ended up winning this time. Basically, when we went to go drop off all the food, the shelters were very grateful for everything, but they did say that, like, there's a bunch of food coming in around Thanksgiving time, obviously, and it's not only Thanksgiving that they're needing stuff. So we decided that we were going to start doing like monthly food drives or like bi-monthly food drives. That way, there's stuff rather than only Thanksgiving. We were trying to figure out ways to boost morale before, like, between now and holiday break, like December break.
Wait. Why is morale down?
Well, it's like 4-5 day weeks from now to December.
No
And that
tinsel.
doesn't, I'm pretty sure that's the longest stretch without a break that we have all year. And it's pretty much like miserable. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like prepping for midterms too, slightly, because once we get back from December break, it's already January and then we have midterms right away. So coming from a senior who's done it for 4 years, it's pretty much like the worst stretch of time. Like the days feel shorter. Everything's just moving in slow motion, basically. There's this thing called Cookies and Cocoa, but that's run by the PTO. And I know that that's something that gets students really excited. So we were all trying to like yesterday brainstorm just anything that could like bring like excitement to the school. Not that there's never any excitement, but just something that could bring students up from feeling like upset or even like depressed in this time of year. So we're going to do a vote on that next week. We have a few different options for that. And I don't know if you remember, but the last time that I was
Remember, I was not, I tasked you. I gave you a task.
Yes.
And the thing is, they don't know, but they
Yeah.
probably weren't listening. I asked you to go out and to talk to students you don't normally talk to,
Yes.
right? Who are not part of your group,
Yeah.
to find out what's important to them.
Yes.
It could be their list
And
of grievances.
Did do that.
Let's hear.
I went up to some students, multiple grades, pretty much different periods, lunch periods, off periods. And I asked them like if there was one thing that they wanted to bring to the board, what would it be?
Yeah.
And the top answer was updates on the main entrance for the high school. And I know that obviously no one wants it to be going for as long as it's going, but there was nothing that I could say to them that I felt comfortable, like confident with the answers with. So I just wanted to like have something to be able to bring back to them and to be like, oh, so this is the update. This is what's going on. Because even I was like, wow, I actually don't know what the deal is with that. So I just wanted something to maybe.
Okay, so let's answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I'll contact you with more a better specific window. But you can see if you drive by the entrance, even that the framing is really done and the inside wall is now really starting to come together. So I don't want to say what's always the contractors always say to us about any space is 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. So we'll get you an exact date. It will definitely be after the winter break, and then we'll get you a more precise time there after that.
That
Thank
was
you.
just what I noticed, the main thing that people were like very just confused on, because obviously it's been going on for a long time. And it was something that I even was like, you know what, I will bring that to their attention because I didn't even know the answer to that.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You're welcome.
Keep that. We want more of that.
Okay.
Yeah, more. All right. You're not supposed to. Do you have more or no? All right, that was excellent.
Thank you.
You go home. We're all wishing you well for school,
Thank you.
okay, and your acceptances.
Thank you.
And you're a worthwhile person, regardless of whether a college accepts you or not.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, we're gonna now move to the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Ava. I did want to mention that I really would like to get all of our SGO representatives together from across the district. So even our Seacliff folks, our elementary folks, our middle school folks, and you, of course, and your people to come to central office one day. Maybe we can boost that morale a little bit with getting out of the high school. But just to talk to you all, it's something I'd like to start doing. So we'll be in touch soon with that. I really appreciate your comments about the food drive. I think all of our schools do some kind of a food drive, some electronic. Even central office does what I call an old school 1980s food drive. We have the paper bags, we have the boxes, and one of my favorite things to do, and I did it every year at Seacliff too, was to actually drive it to Island Harvest in Uniondale. We have, we're a smaller office, so we had about 95 pounds. It was pretty good. Of course, Betty helped organize it, so it was presented in an organized manner. But I had a conversation with the person there, the person I see every year. She was alone. And she was saying the same thing you said about, they kind of had all the pickup already for Thanksgiving, but they want other times of the year. So thank you for doing that and organizing that. And it's a wonderful idea. Very, very out of the box thought. Speaking of the 1980s, I just want to congratulate, yes, please feel free to go. Sorry. Congratulate the cast and crew and advisors of our maskers for their excellent performance of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Not only was it an amazing performance, but it was a very creative one. The production started, and I soon realized that the show, and I didn't go to any of the rehearsals, I didn't hear any of this, it had been adapted to the 1980s with a student playing the song Don't Dream It's Over. I just so North Shore, so smart, inventive, and dare I say cool. And I know all of the parents who grew up in the 80s really appreciated it. It was really neat, and they did a great job. As always, it's a great community. So thank you to Mr. Breitman, Mr. Chalemi, Ms. DeLima, all of our advisors, everybody, of course, Ms. Rodriguez, for your support at the administrative level. Congratulations to all of our fall athletes for a great season that included several team and individual accolades. We'll be recognizing some of those athletes in upcoming meetings now that those seasons are over. We're excited for our next season that's just underway for some more indoor sports. And I also want to congratulate our college-bound athletes who were recognized on Tuesday, November 28th, for their dedication and their great accomplishment in becoming college athletes. Thank you, Mr. Lang, for everything you did to organize a nice recognition for our student athletes, who we had 11 of them, and we'll have another signing in the spring, ranging from lacrosse to baseball to basketball and a range of universities that they were committed to. So thank you. There's a great story that Ms. Newman created on that event on our website. I wanted to thank Dr. Smythe for organizing our Viking community meetings. We had our third amazing meeting of the Viking Community Committee that they are designed to support our strategic plan. So we have 4 subcommittees: meaningful learning and academic growth, positive relationships, the SVO and graduate profile, and participation in interest-based electives. And these committees are working to support the goals of the strategic plan. I'm in the committee talking about our shared valued outcomes and a portrait of a graduate. We're talking about study skills and developing a framework for study skills. Dr. O'Hara and Dr. Mabrook are leading the positive relationships committee. And Ms. McCormick is leading the interest-based elective committee. So we're really doing some nice work there. And we're going to send out emails to get more folks involved. We want more people on that committee. So we look forward to it. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have our second meeting of the technology committee. We had our first meeting in early November. We have a lot of great parents, a lot in the industry who work in big tech, programmers, very smart committee, and we're looking at tech and the concerns that parents have about the technology in schools, outside of school, and also the promise of technology. And we'll have an upcoming board presentation on that topic as well. Just a couple more announcements. We're excited for our upcoming winter concerts, which begin on Tuesday, December 5th with our middle school concert #1. It's truly a magical time of year. And as she has done every year, Ms. Rodriguez has arranged for all the concerts, even the elementary concerts, to be live streamed, which is truly amazing. So started doing that during COVID times when we had to, but has maintained that. And that is on the YouTube channel for the North Shore Fine and Performing Arts. We'll be mailing that out to everybody so they can reach that. But we also look forward to seeing everyone in person. I wanted to make a note about something that we are working on. Mr. Pappas and I, along with Dr. Smythe and the board, earlier in the year, several residents reached out to me asking for an independent budget review. The more that I thought about this and talked to Mr. Pappas about this, I realized that we wanted to do more than that, that we really needed a strategic plan for our finances and our resources and our infrastructure. And if you look at the district goals, those goals really support creating a strategic plan to support the North Shore Journey instructional plan. So we'll be hearing more about this in the coming weeks, and I look forward to mapping out a strategy to meet our resource needs in a responsible way that ultimately support the students in their North Shore journey. And finally, an update on the Glen Head principal search. We're very close to identifying an interim principal for the Glen Head school. We've met a lot of excellent candidates, so I'm excited to announce that next week. We're really looking forward to that period of time, and we'll be actively searching for new principals starting in February. Of course, we'll miss Dr. Ruth greatly, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So tonight on our regular business, we have our Opportunities, Learning, and Achievement reports. Part 1, Fine and Performing Arts and Athletics, Health, and PE. So are we going to do them separately?
Yeah, so we were going to ask Mr. Lang to go first and then Ms. Rodriguez. And we're going to move the TV over and we can sit in the front if you would like to. I do have, and Carol does for the Fine Performing Arts presentation, some printouts.
Excellent. As you get ready, I will say thank you to everyone who made the room warm tonight. It is greatly appreciated.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming out to listen to us. And board, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak about what we've done over the last 12 months or so. I also want to thank Shelley Newman for helping with some of the pictures that we put on our slide presentation today, and Dr. Zuglionis for helping out as well. So last year, I talked a long time about the directions we were taking, some of the things we've done, and because we hadn't presented in a long time. So this year was kind of an update of where we are or what we've done in the last 12 months. So why statement really hasn't changed. It's kind of the same thing that we put out there last year. We think the statement reaches all students, not just athletes, and that's our goal, is to reach all students, to give them the experience, everyone a great experience, whether you're an athlete, learning about fitness, just a regular phys ed student, health student. We want to reach every student in a positive way. And that's kind of what we go for or try to achieve every day. So the look at the athletics, we're going back to last fall. So it's 2022 to 2023. So the last couple of months, that you guys have been going to games and watching and reading about all the things we've done. That will be in next year's presentation. Okay, if you guys want me back to do another one. So those are the North Shirley Athletics by the numbers. If you can see the numbers, we break it down by males, females, one sport athlete, two sport athlete, and three sport athletes for the high school. We see that those numbers are slightly elevated as compared to last year's numbers. So we have seen a little increase in the total numbers that we have our kids participate in. That we're expecting to see a little bit of a tick down possibly next year based on what we've gone through this fall. So the numbers may be a little bit smaller. We also have a smaller class coming into the high school as well, I think. So the athletic teams on the bottom for the high school, those stayed the same as last year. We had 51 teams. So luckily we've been able to maintain them. This past year, this year coming up, we may have to combine a couple things, but that's where we are for the last year. Middle school, again, those numbers are really strong numbers. I just want to get back to the high school. The one number up there that's really important is the 66% of the kids that are involved in athletics after school, which is it's up from last year, and it's a very important number for us. We want to get as many kids involved as possible. So the middle school, those are the breakdowns, male, females for the fall, winter, and spring. It's one thing is you look at the fall numbers there, the females outnumber the boys by a couple there, even with the big numbers in the football. So we do have a lot of girls involved in our athletic program there. So it's really exciting for us. Those are the teams. They have changed a little bit from the year before. So we've had the combined teams was the big change. We went from 11 to 7. And at the 7th grade, we went to 10, and the 8th grade, we went to 10, from 10 to 9. So there's a little bit of a decrease in those, but an increase in a combination of teams. And that's something that we have to provide talk to BOCES and the scheduling people, and we have to declare the number of teams we want so that what fits us best in every different sports. So there's some sports that could be football, for example. We used to have one 7th grade team, one 8th grade team. When budget cuts came, I guess it was probably 7 or 8 years ago, a lot of teams started to combine their teams. The teams that didn't combine were the Farmingdales, Wantords, Freeports, and that's who we got stuck playing. And it was really a tough year for our kids. After that, we started combining our 7 and 8s and playing a schedule that was more, better competition for us on both sides. So that's how we decide on which teams we're going to have. Okay, some success that we've had in the last 12 months. Again, our running program, especially in the cross country, has been outstanding. Last year, we won boys and girls county championships, boys county championship, and then we end with the women's and men's track and field championships. Again, strong programs. Those are our county runner-ups, which means they got to the county finals. Unfortunately, we didn't win them, but we got very close and had great years. And then we had our conference, our county semifinalists, and our which was field hockey and men's tennis, which means they got to the Final Four. Some more conference championships. It shows what a good solid program we have. There's a variety of teams up there, and they can't seem to change every year. We have different success stories every year. So it's nice to see like the tennis that we've seen in the last year. Back on the last page is on there. That's nice to see the boys do really well. So we've had a really good 12 months. Most importantly to a lot of people is that the New York State Scholar Athlete Award, unfortunately, we're a school of excellence that to qualify for the School of Excellence, you need 75% of the teams to have a combined average or 90 or better. We have about 90% of our teams, so we're short to getting 100%, which will put us at the next level. And I just got the numbers in today. For the fall, we're at 100%, so we're on the right track. So we're still in the ballgame. And one of our newer programs, our cheerleaders, again, qualified for the Nationals in Florida again this year for the second time, and it just continues to get better and better. So these are the student recognition. For a small school, we do pretty well with our kids winning individual awards. Again, a lot of these awards are voted on by coaches, other coaches, the press. So that's where those numbers come from. We don't have a lot of control over those numbers at times, but we've had plenty of kids that have been recognized throughout the year. If you look down to second from the bottom, we have the New York State Scholar Athletes. That is 250 of our kids had an average when they played the sport of 90 or above, which is also a really great number for us. So we're hoping that number goes up again a little bit this year. And then at the bottom, we're very proud of our staff. We had 3 coaches of the year last year. So we're very happy and excited for them as well. But we're happy that our athletes get recognized. It helps, get the college word out there, and it gives them the, some of the recognition that they deserve for all their hard work. Okay, this is our national letter of intent signing. This was last year. Now, the average 7% of high school athletes go on to participate in college athletics, whether it's Division I, II, or III. We're at 10%. Little small North Shore schools has regularly been at least 10% of our kids going to play college athletics. And I forget exactly what the number was there, but we had 5 or 6 kids that decided not to play that could absolutely have been athletes if they wanted to, but they chose to go to different kinds of schools. So that number could even be higher. So we've done very well in getting our kids in schools. And again, I mentioned at our Tuesday at our signing day that the number of schools, the different schools that we are going to, every year we have 2 or 3 schools that no one's been to before. No one has been an athlete there before. And we've been doing this for 15 years. So the North Shore brand is growing, and we're getting the recognition, and the kids are benefiting from it. So, it's getting bigger. We're sending kids to great, great places. I think, trying to think of Tuesday, with Western Connecticut, York College of Pennsylvania, University of Chicago, Bowdoin, yes, the favorite of and New Jersey Institute of Technology, St. John's, Roger Williams. So it was a very impressive list. So these are some of the things that our athletes are doing. The clinics that we do, a lot of them, we do that big clinic day on homecoming morning, which has grown. We started out just doing football clinics, and then which was a lot of fun. We did the fun run and the football clinic, and that was it. And this year we did field hockey, football, cheerleading, volleyball, we don't have the homecoming in the spring, but the baseball and softball have had, in the past, youth kids come and work with them when they can. So we're getting better at getting involved, getting the kids with our younger kids. Just another thing, just a quick thing. We visit the elementary schools. Last year, the football players read books in the library after practice to younger kids, and we have all kinds of members of our kids on a bunch of district-wide committees. So they're involved in a lot of things for our district. Next step, and some recommendations. And, things are changing, populations change, and needs have changed. And this is what we're looking to do over the next couple of years. We had a boys volleyball program in a middle school that kind of phased out. We want to bring that back in, see how that goes, and eventually bring it back and bring it to the high school if the numbers warrant us doing that, both financially and participation numbers. Badminton, Section 8, which is Nassau BOCES, is going to start a badminton league for middle school next fall. They asked for interest. We have indicated that we would be interested in getting involved in that. So we'll see how that goes. But we have had big interest in badminton, and I'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But that's an activity that kids that are, I don't think we'll lose a lot of kids from other sports. It's a different sport, and that's one of the concerns we have with the smaller schools. Bringing too many things in, we lose other things. So we're looking to get a population, get to do things that kids that wouldn't normally do things would get involved in. And I think we've seen that in other districts that works. And then, flag football for females is really starting to grow again. I've talked to Dr. Zuglionis about this. We would have to start something in the middle school and see what kind of commitment we have. It's very difficult because it's in the spring season, and we have even though we have some really good teams in sports, the numbers aren't very big, and we wouldn't want to lose a sport. that might be hanging on for that. So we're in constant conversation about that. The high school, we started, the varsity has been transformed to cheerleaders. We started the middle school a couple of years ago. We've had great representation in the middle school. Now we need to take it to the next level and bring a JV cheerleading team back to North Shore. This is also a budget presentation for next week. So we want to bring that back. We want to get a JV cheerleading team as well. Badminton, again, we want to see how that grows and see if we can bring that to the high school in the next couple of years. Same with volleyball. The fencing, I've gotten calls in the past about fencing. People want to get involved in fencing. Again, it's a tough sport to get started because there's not a huge population of people that play it. So we're going to look into seeing what we can do with that. If there's a place around that we can maybe train, have a couple kids train, or someone that may want to combine, similar to what we did with Friends Academy and ice hockey, where we combine teams with them. So we're looking into that. And again, the women's flag football is something that we'll see if we can build for the future. The biggest problem that we're finding is facilities and space. As we add things, we have less and less space. So unfortunately, like the situation we're in right now in the winter, we have kids practicing 2 or 3 times a week late at night. We're going to try to avoid that. Try to find space, work different spaces, different hours, so that we can get kids not home at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So facilities is something that I've talked to Dr. Zuglionis about. It's just an ongoing conversation. We'll try to figure out the best way to do things. One thing is we have to try to improve in is that we're going to try to focus on our recruiting, get more kids even recruited, bring more people in to talk to parents and kids about recruiting, and look into different careers in athletics. And then because there's a great deal of things for people to earn a great living doing. We're going to look into injury prevention. We have a new trainer that started on 2 days ago. So we're going to talk to him about putting in some kind of injury prevention through stretching and things like that for all the teams. And then we're going to, our kids really work hard. They put a lot of hours in, but we want to see if we can, get them to do a little more service, things for the community for us. So those are some of the next steps we're looking at, not just next year, in the years to come. The intramurals and physical education, health is another thing we're going to take a look at. This is just a little quote that how phys ed is important for everybody. It's important for kids to learn how to be be fit, learn about their bodies, and it doesn't always have to be competitive. And that's what's great about phys ed and phys ed class. It doesn't have to be competitive, and kids get a lot of lifelong lessons out of it. So our intramural program, you see, we have intramurals at all of our schools. We're going to look to expand as much as we can in the elementary school. Again, we have some limited times with that. Grades 6 through 8, we have space issues, but we do some seasonal intramurals. Last year we did, after we met last year, and badminton was suggested, we put a badminton intramural in place for the middle school kids, and the teachers loved it. It was in the morning, and we had a Google sign up, and it was packed every morning. So we're hoping to expand on that as well. High school, we have a lot of our sports run open gyms and open weight rooms and things like that everybody is involved. Everyone is invited to come as much as they want. So so that's the intramural program. It's great. We give our kids a lot of opportunities. We want to look to expand it even more as much as we can. Again, the space issue becomes a problem, especially in the middle school. And this is the weight room. We have opened every day. We've changed like the Women's Day to from Friday to Thursday, and so we don't close the gym up to the boys on that day. What we do is we have Michelle Keon, who will go down and supervise just the girls in the weight room to make sure that they know what they're doing, and if they have any questions, they feel a lot more comfortable going with her. So she goes down on that day, and it seemed to be successful. We have more kids in there. We have had a couple of middle school kids that are involved in that are coming over after school. We're keeping a close eye on them, but they're going in there doing their work and doing a nice job. So we're allowing them right now. Okay. Phys ed, You can see some of our course emphasis in the middle school and in the elementary school, and we kind of changes as you go to different levels. Again, we want kids to build confidence. We want to learn about themselves, and we want to, one of the big things is we want to learn for them to respect one another, whether they agree or not. And if you look into watch an elementary phys ed class, especially some of the activities, you can really see that goes on. The respect that they have for each other and the different abilities is really, it's a nice warm thing to watch. The middle school, and when we get to the middle school, we get a little more sports oriented, where it becomes a little more sporting games, learning more about the different activities. We do have some electives. We'd love to have more electives here, but scheduling becomes a problem. Space is a problem here. We'd love to we have a weight training elective where the kids go across the street to the high school and go into the weight room down there. It'd be really great if we could, get something over here. We do Project Adventure. We have yoga. We have the dance program has gone from the high school down to the middle school. So we do have some options. Again, we'd love to be able to do more. High schools, we're a little unique in that our freshmen we put them through kind of an orientation. We put them down in the weight room. They learn about the weight room, and they get involved in some of the activities, a broad range of activities. Then when you're a sophomore, junior, and senior, you get to choose sport ed, which is a more of a team sport makeup, and that goes through the whole year. Individual lifetime fitness, the Wellness for Life, that is full year of phys ed. Those are we kind of design it so that the kids can get what they want out of class. We do also have a advanced fitness class where it meets every day, and they get a full half credit for that. And a lot of that is spent in the weight room. And then we also have conditioning for dance, which gives the kids they take their dance class and they're given the credit for phys ed as well because they do the conditioning for dance. So, we try to meet the needs of our students. Our participation rates are unbelievable. We have very little unprepared kids not participating because of the options we give them. We're going to continue to update those and try to fine tune those. But we listen to what the students want. We've changed things and we'll continue to do that. But we've had, very little unprepared kids and not participating kids. Again, I just want to go back to the health and phys ed. Could we do more? Absolutely. Could we do more if we had more space? Great. We would do great things if we had a lab or a different, weight room upstairs and more gym space to be able to take kids and have different stations and different learning stations. Right now, we just run out of space, unfortunately. So if we had, a wish list, some more facilities would be great. Health, K through 9 approach. As you can see, some of the topics that we go through in the elementary school are very basic health issues, health problems, things like washing your hands, hygiene, things like that. In the middle school, let me just go back 1 second. The elementary kids, we hope to get each class 10 to 12 health lessons per year taught by our phys ed teachers. And those are some of the things that we emphasize. Middle school, we have the 6th graders take a short, I think it's an 8-week program. 7th graders take an 8-week program. And then the 8th graders get a half year of health. And then when we get to the high school, most people take health in 12th grade. So the health we have our health kids take health from like 1st grade through 9th grade. Every year they get some kind of health. Unfortunately, it stops in 9th grade, where we think it's important to figure out what we can do to get more kids involved, reintroduce some topics that kids may not be familiar with. So those are, up there are some of the highlights that we have for our curriculum in our classes. And these are some of the next steps. I think we really have to look critically at the health curriculum. It's a live document that changes every day. When most of us went to health, we got lectures on smoking and how bad smoking was for us, and steroids and nutrition. That has, we seem to have conquered some of those things, and the numbers show that society has done a great job in minimizing some of those things. But so ours continually changes. So we would love to be able to keep the health program going, find more time for another class in the high school somehow, because we really think it would be, just very important for the kids. We do have one elective now, kind of it's in the health side of things, but it's an complete elective. Is we do have a sport med program where the kids come in, sport med 1 and med 2. Running for a full year, and they come in and they learn about, the human body, the anatomy, learn about taping and injury. They get certified in CPR and first aid and AED. So we do have an elective that we'd like to build on from there. So also, the health, we don't teach to the test, we teach to life. It's, every kid, we can give the kids all the facts, and they're going to get 100 on every test about the dangers of smoking and the calorie breakdowns and what we should be eating every day. But what we do is we do a lot of role playing. We do a lot of, a lot of questionnaires, a lot of discussion, open discussion about things that are going on in life. Whether it's, a couple years ago, the vaping was the biggest thing, and we didn't spend enough time on vaping. Now it's gone to other things. So we're now less time there. So again, it continually changes. We, our health teachers are continue to talk about what's important, and we listen to what the people are saying here. So, and that is a group effort that we need parents' help, we need our teachers' help, and our kids' help to make sure that we give our kids the best opportunity there. So, this is, so it was shorter than last year. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to take any questions. I don't know if we do them now or later, or.
So thank you, Mr. Lang. Trustees, who would like to go first?
First,
Okay, Maria.
I just have a few questions, Don. First of all, warmest congratulations to you, the coaches, and especially the students on another year of great accomplishments. It's so impressive, and another point of great pride here to have our athletes so accomplished. Just curious what some of the district-wide committees are that some of the athletes serve on. I'm assuming
Wellness committee,
wellness,
athletic advisory committee.
Okay.
The SGO president is one of our volleyball players. So our kids are very well
Fantastic.
rounded in that. Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to put a plug in for the intramural badminton in the middle school. My daughter's waiting with bated breath for it this year. So.
Okay. It's coming. It's coming.
The health classes K through 9 seemed fantastic. Did I understand you to say that it does appear again in 12th grade? That is, all 12th graders
It doesn't
get it?
appear in 12th grade, really. That's one of the things we try to figure out. We'd love to have some kind of health class, health review sometime later on in high school career.
Okay, I misunderstood you. So, okay.
Yeah, because some of the things we learn about as 9th graders, there's a whole different world 3 years later that
Right.
we, need to educate them on. So
Yeah. And some of the issues that they start hearing about in middle school get even more important in high school. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Terrific presentation.
Thank you so much for your presentation, and congratulations to all our athletes. There's, not only are they well accomplished athletes, but they're also doing well academically, it sounds like. So congratulations to them. Just a couple of questions. I remember in athletic advisory, we had talked about that second gym in the high school and getting like batting cages. Are those up now?
those are not up yet. We thought we'd be able to put them up ourselves, but I was just told that we can't put them, that we're going to have to find someone to put them up. It's not a huge job, but, we'll have to find someone to put them up.
That'll help with the spacing issue, right?
That's not really,
No.
space, that's not really a concern, because that net's going to be able to go up and down. So it's not going to interfere with anything. It actually helps us free up more space back there
Right.
by using the nets that we're getting.
Right, that's what I meant. So
Yeah.
once okay.
Yeah.
And do you have an estimated completion date for that? Or?
We're hoping to get it, I'm going to talk to John Hall and get his recommendations for who we, have to put it in. But it's not a difficult job to put in. It'd probably be half a day's worth of work.
And I know you talked about exploring facilities and spaces, and I know something that's also come up a lot in athletic advisory is just the aesthetics of the field looks amazing. I think the Booster Club did an amazing job also to help, and it was great on homecoming to see just how wonderful it looked. And we have talked about other little things, just kind of cleaning up the fields and getting benches and things like that. And I know the Booster Club helps a lot with that. And I'm just wondering if there's even ways of getting high school kids to get community service hours by helping us maintain, some of the grounds and helping to, have our field and our athletic facilities look
We
even
would
better.
be open to any kind of help we can get. We do, give community service hours for a lot of different things, helping us score at like track meets and things like that, and helping out with statistics and keeping books and stuff like that. But we would love to be able to get a group and get it outside. And I want some of the beautification was done by Dr. Zuglionis himself. That made a big difference. So we thank him for that.
Absolutely.
I just want to add, I do think that's a great idea. I think what we will do with John Hall and Mr. Pappas is really do an inventory when we can in the winter and start doing some small projects in the spring. So you start seeing that progress this season and spring season.
And I can't take credit for the idea. It was, it was brought up in the committee. So, and then just the focus on recruiting and careers in athletics, I think is great, and just kind of made me think about our coaches and recruiting coaches, which I know is not what you were talking about, but I'm just wondering, how you think we're doing with recruiting coaches. Has it gotten a little bit easier this year? Is there anything else we can do to make it easier or?
No, it's difficult. It's becoming a bigger problem, I think, in some places. I mean, we still have some openings that we're trying to fill that we're really close on for some really, really great people, we think. So we're just trying to work it through. We have 2 big jobs that we're trying to fill for the spring that we want to get done as soon as possible. Well, other than that, we're in pretty good shape.
Are you seeing resumes come in? Is it that people just aren't applying, or what?
There's not nearly the number of people that would apply, and we find it in athletics, but we also find it when we're trying to find phys ed subs or leave replacement teachers in phys ed because they're just not there. I don't know what people have gone in different avenues, I guess, but the choice is not as big as it was. So it's difficult.
We need to try to get our kids to focus on careers in.
Yes, we'd love to be able to listen. We have some really
out.
smart kids that would make great coaches for us. And actually, we have brought back our alumni. We have one of our alumni now is an assistant wrestling coach. We have one that did volleyball that will probably take over the program when she's done. And we have someone that wants to be her assistant who's a North Shore graduate as well. So we have dipped into the North Shore alumni to help find some holes. I've been very happy with what we found out there. So
thank you, and keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Lisa.
Thanks for a great presentation. A couple of questions came up for me during. My first question was on the page about the athletics by the numbers. And I loved that in most cases, there is pretty close parity, particularly for women and men.
yes,
But there is an outlier for me for winter where we had 96 female athletes and 152 male athletes, which feels like a big disparity. Is there an opportunity there?
you know what it is? We had a large number of boys run winter track last year, and the rest we have wrestling that doesn't kind of offset. So we have boys and girls basketball, we have boys and girls winter track, and then we have wrestling, and the bowling and men's and women's bowling. But the wrestling is just pretty much it's open to anybody, but it's dominated by males. So that's the difference in the wintertime.
Yeah, maybe we can just
there's not a lot of opportunities for the
Yeah.
women. If you look at the numbers in the fall are kind of misleading because we have lots of opportunities for female, but the numbers are closer because we have a football program that gets a lot of kids. But in the fall, we have tennis, soccer, volleyball, cross country. We have a lot of opportunities for female athletes, and then it just kind of closes up a little bit in the winter time.
Yeah.
But we'll explore other opportunities. Again, there's not a lot of opportunities that we're missing out on in the winter for anybody. We have, the women's swimming is in the fall as well. So it's heavy in the fall, a little lighter in the winter.
I had a different question that was just for my information. And you mentioned the supervision in the weight room for the women
Yes.
on Thursdays. What is the general supervision like in the
We have
weight
a supervisor that's down there every day. You have someone's down there the time they open it until the time that someone leaves. They're not, we hope that kids are bringing information that they learn in their phys ed classes and bring it downstairs. We don't have it's not a certified trainer down there, but it's someone that has a basic knowledge of weight training and is there more to make sure that people aren't, fooling around and not being careful with their activities. And knock on wood, we've had very little issues with any kind of kids getting hurt down there or improperly lifting weights. So, again, I said, we opened it up a little bit to some of the middle schoolers, kind of a little bit reluctantly because they haven't gone through the phys ed program, but they're anxious kids. They listen, they pay attention, and they act the right way. So we're letting them in a little bit at a time.
I heard a bunch of times during your presentation about the space constraints that you feel for developing your program. And I know not for this presentation, but maybe I would love, some recommendations short of building a building, right? Like we're not going to build, but the only idea that I came up with while you were speaking and, during the no bad ideas phase of thinking, I mean, obviously we have financial constraints where we sit, but you have to have a vision, right? The only thing that I could come up with was, bubbling maybe the tennis courts or something like that. I would love ideas and recommendations for how you would, in a reasonable way, solve some of these space constraints. I mean, they are what they are to some degree, but maybe we can think creatively about.
Love to sit down and talk about some of the things that would help us. A bubble would definitely help us, give us another area. We've looked into renting gyms to try to alleviate some of the congestion that we have, especially at the high school. So we'll absolutely love to sit down and try to brainstorm some things.
I was very moved by what you were talking about in terms of kind of you cut off in your conversation to some degree after 9th grade with respect to formal health discussions. But I was thinking, I wonder if there's a interdisciplinary approach potentially of weaving that conversation into other, as opposed to just being a formal PE health conversation, looking at the curriculum and other avenues and ways that we could maybe for 10th, 11th, and 12th graders fit some health dialogue in, whether it's chemistry or social studies, or, it is sort of global as a concept. So maybe it would alleviate the burden, but also keep that conversation going. I just had that idea, so sharing it.
Really interesting point that health as a concept could be attached to any subject area and be a vehicle to make that subject area more relevant to the world outside of school and students' individual lives. Absolutely. A great idea.
And that's all I have. Thank you so much for your time and putting this together. And I always love looking at this stuff, and I'm super grateful.
Do you mind?
No, go.
Trustee Cashman reminded me of one other question I had. So you said that space in the middle school was one of the biggest problems, and we just did all this construction and renovation, and I'm just wondering, did it come up at all in the conversations?
It's always been a topic and a conversation. Whenever there's been bond talk, we've always asked about trying to expand facilities. I think, personally, I've asked for another gym in the middle school. And asked anything. I've asked for weight room to be moved in the high school to upstairs, or kind of open up a weight room here or a fitness center here. So we have been addressed, in conversation, but it hasn't been addressed in dollars and cents, I guess you could say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Some of my questions were already answered. I was really interested in what your vision was on the space, but you answered. I don't know if you had any other.
Oh, it's just it comes down to what we can afford to do, and where we can afford to do it. I think we have space, open space at the high school. If the district had the ability to build something, we have some space that we could use that would enhance our programs and alleviate some of the congestion we have and give us an ability to branch out a little bit into different activities and phys ed and things like that.
Great. I'm curious if, and I mentioned it last year too, whether you've incorporated any sports psychologists into the programs.
You know what? We haven't, but that's a really good idea for us to really figure out how to do it. We go back and forth with the Booster Club's help about bringing speakers in, and that's something that maybe we should speak to the Booster Club about. And see if we can get someone to talk about that. We had someone several years right before the pandemic came, right before the pandemic hit. We had someone come in and talk to our spring athletes at the beginning of the spring there. A psychologist that dealt with some things, but there's some people we should reach out to and see if we can.
Yeah, I happened to go to school with like several people who ended up going into sports psychology at like the collegiate level. And so, I mean, it's really fascinating. And to me, it seems you're doing so much, but it seems like the one area that's sort of untapped that you could expand. And there's such a connection between like performance anxiety and different imagery techniques. And I mean, it's really evidence-based. So I really would encourage you to and I can help. I can give you some names too.
I mean, I think our coaches become quasi sports psychologists, but we'd love to have someone that would be able to come in and spend some time with our kids. Absolutely.
I was just going to say, outside teams, are doing it now in lieu of practices. They call it cerebral training. It's on the team snap and you're seeing it. So those people are definitely out there and they're working with kids that are high school age.
I wonder if that could be accomplished in a low cost and no cost way. If there was a community member who was qualified and vetted that wouldn't contribute like to that kind of a pilot situation.
Yeah, I mean, I believe there are. I know enough people that I actually think it's doable.
We'll be in contact then.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought for a second Trustee Cashman was volunteering, Dr.
Dr. McCary has a very small toolbox for sports psychology. So I think that would be like a great way to go. There's even, believe it or not, like somebody I went to graduate school even created like a version sort of a athletic IQ test, so that people who play sports, it sort of hones in on where their strengths are. I mean, it's really a very well-developed science at this point. I'm interested in more badminton. I think all the trustees are, right? Like we want as much badminton every day. And I'm also interested in, if you could just talk a little bit about phys ed and how you grade students in that course.
Kids are given number in the high school, and we start with the high school. The kids are given number grades in the high school based on participation, being prepared for class, participation. It gets on a 1 through 5 number. Every day they get a grade of 1 through 5, depending on being prepared for class, participating in class. And those add up at the end of the semester. They add up to a number, and it's divisible by the number of times they're there. But it's a daily grade that they get there.
Okay. And so it's very clear.
Very clear. Yes, the middle school is more a letter grade, and then the elementary is just some checkoffs in some of the boxes there.
Okay. And then in terms of health, like I would echo what everyone else said about just how can we get more help, particularly right before they go to college, right? Because the issues so relevant once they're sent off. I'm also interested in Erin's Law and whether the district is compliant in that. And that's just for everybody else, K through 8th grade, right? It's mandated by New York State in terms of doing like sexual abuse prevention education.
Yes, actually, Mr. Doherty handles that through counseling.
Okay. All right, great. And that's they get it every year.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. All right,
So
great.
we do address it in health class as well. Before I think Mr. Doherty got here, we were doing it in health. I think actually Dr. Zuglionis made sure that we were doing that at some point.
You're right, Mr. Lang. It's in elementary counseling classes with Ms. DePretta, and then health at the middle school. And so, yeah, Dan and Don did work on that. That was 2 years ago when we started.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on.
Thank you, Mr. Lang.
Okay. Yep.
We have Ms. Rodriguez in FPA, Fine and Performing Arts.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me in the audience and at home, my name is Dalia Rodriguez, and I'm the Director of Fine and Performing Arts. I want to thank you for inviting me to present tonight on behalf of the Fine and Performing Arts Department, teachers, and students. The purpose of this presentation is to share some of our processes and highlight students' progress in our arts programs. Tonight, I will be highlighting general music because it's often overshadowed by our ensemble programs. But general music has tremendous value in its own right. In fact, it is one of the many reasons we have successful ensembles. I am also highlighting a new visual art course called Props and Performing Objects because it provides students with authentic learning experiences. While all of our courses in the arts programs offer opportunities for authentic learning, students who participate in our theater program have to draw holistically from their education within a context that continues to change. Overall, I hope that this presentation brings to light that we are all innately creators, and it is important to continue to create opportunities in which students can connect with their creative selves. I titled this presentation Process and Progress because I strongly believe that where there is a rich, rigorous, meaningful, creative process in place, progress is inevitable. Think about your own lived experiences. Learning occurs in the process. The following questions were crafted to help focus and frame today's presentations. Why is general music an invaluable strand of our music program? How does authentic learning experiences support students' growth? What is the impact of professional learning on students' growth? And how do we create assured experiences in our arts programs? I am going to begin with our general music program as it provides a strong learning in all music, such as chorus, non-pitched instruments, classical instruments, modern music making, and that is just to name a few. In general music, students learn early on how to feel the pulse of a rhythm, keep a steady beat. They experience music from different cultures and learn how to read music. While these experiences prepare many students to be future musicians in our ensembles, it supports all students in fully engaging with music. Music, you see, is an important part of the human experience because we intrinsically embody music. Think about it. Our heartbeat beats a rhythm unique to each of us. It is our personal instrument. It is why we feel the beat in music and why the quote, "music feeds the soul," resonates with many of us. Visiting a kindergarten general music classroom is one of the best ways to see how music is innate to the human experience. You really have to get there if you haven't been there. Our youngest students truly enjoy singing and moving to the beat and learning through play. You can hear joy in our K students' voices and see it in their body movement in this video. It's contagious too. There are many music curriculum learning experiences that highlight its importance in students' music education. This evening, however, I want to share how students are engaging with music technology. In this first example on the bottom left, you're going to see kindergarten students using technology to practice singing in their high and low voices, and Miss Hackman's class is here with us tonight. This video, the second one here, where it says 5, which is our 5th grade example, is a music arrangement that was created on Google Chrome's Song Maker. The final example in the 8th grade, students work with sampling audio by creating sound sequences from recordings of famous speeches, then arrange music samples and compose original music to support it in the Great Speech Remix project. Until last year, the option for students to engage in general music education ended in grade 8. If you did not study a classical instrument or choral arts, there was not an alternative music education pathway for you at the high school level. This is why we created a music production and engineering course. When Mr. Bryce Larson wrote the curriculum for this course, he drew inspiration from his own personal music career, his teaching experiences, and more recently from Rick Rubinson's book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. The coursework in MAPE involves using techniques similar to traditional music performance, coding, and technology. Sample curriculum questions are: what does it mean to be a creator? How do the skills required to be a music producer compare to those of a performer? Where does creativity come from? How can I use music production as a form of creative expression to enhance my life? Now we are going to listen to a few students' examples from a beat sculpting unit. This project occurs early in the high school music production and engineering curriculum. Students create their first through composed pieces by extending their own multi-track loops and then removing the parts to provide forward motion and clear beginning and end points for their piece. This one's a little bit for our heavy metalers in the audience. As you can see, general music is a rich and rigorous program that offers students opportunities to connect with their creative selves. Furthermore, students in general music develop a love and appreciation of music, an awareness of the benefit of performing and listening to music, an understanding of a variety of musical genres, an understanding of the role music plays in societies, an appreciation of a variety of cultures. They make interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary connections, and they learn the foundation music literacy skills and concepts that they can continue to develop in any music pathway they commit to. Now, I am super excited to share with you a new course at the high school called Props and Performance Objects. In this course, students engage in performance-based assessment through meaningful and authentic learning experiences. They collaborate with North Shore masters and design and create working props, set dressings for new North Shore theater performances. So before students actually get to making the sets, they have to read and analyze the script. And then they really have to think about how are they going to express the ideas of the author? How are they going to tell a story through objects? So on the very top left, you can see that the kids are just thinking about the trees, how they're going to look. If you look at the bottom one, they're already thinking about how they're going to work on the casters that have to be like really nailed down to the ground for safety purposes. And to the right, you see a prototype that they create in the class. Here you begin to see how they create these very large armatures for these trees in Midsummer Night's Dream. At the bottom, you see the paper mache, the outside of the tree. And here is when you begin to see how they're creating a realistic rendering of trees. And if you saw Midsummer Night's Dream, the set was incredible. And that was created by our students. In the past, we used to hire people to do this work. And now we have kids who create the sets and to create the props. And it is truly an amazing experience. Here you see them learning how to work the fly system. And here they're dressing the fly system with the forest canopy. And like in all of our arts programs, our students reflect, because reflecting is such an integral part of being a creator. You just can't be a creator if you can't reflect. So it's part of our curriculum, and we pause to think about our work, to celebrate our successes, and to really think about how we can improve the work we do. So as you can see, we have a wide range of students enrolled in this course. And this course offers students the opportunity to merge what they learn during the day and extend that learning into the after-school theater program. And I love this part. Extending the context in which they are learning and creating helps students understand that knowledge can be transferred to real-life settings. Beyond that, students in PAPO make interdisciplinary and cross-curricular connections to solve real-life problems. They learn that there is more than one way to solve a problem. They reflect throughout the learning process. They learn the value of collaboration and teamwork. They learn how to plan long-term projects and see them through to completion. They improve communication skills. They learn time management skills and other management skills. And they build their capacities to understand complex literature. The work that I share with you this evening, and the work that you have seen in our art gallery at the high school, in the halls, in the classrooms, and stages across the district, derive from our course curriculums. So what helps us get there? What helps the department frame our curriculum work? And this is where really it all begins from. And where do we draw our inspiration from when creating and developing curriculum and student learning experiences? One of the things that we have to call upon are our New York State Arts Learning Process Standards, which are create, present, perform, produce, respond, and connect, and their corresponding anchor standards as articulated by the State Department of Education. The district values and goals, the North Shore Journeys framework for discovering our dreams, education theories and philosophies, professional learning, and teacher experiences. I want to highlight that because that's equally as important. Student learning experiences and feedback. So what is our process for creating assured experiences in the arts? We begin with the development of department goals. We have a team approach. We have content-specific and grade-level goals, curriculum writing and revision process, which is a continuous process, and horizontal and vertical articulation of the curriculum. All that said, we are consistently reflecting, because that's what artists do, on how to improve our curriculum so we can appropriately support students' growth. Last spring, we met as a whole team and worked in content-specific teams to refine our curriculum maps, articulate and reflect on our current practices, and set goals. One takeaway from this experience was the need to clearly articulate what the benchmark for progressing through grade level looks like in each content area. And this fall, we began the process of creating progression maps. But prior to creating the progression maps, we discussed our values to ensure we were aligned, and then created a list of what students should know before they graduate North Shore. And I'm going to show you that on this slide here. To the left, you can see in the pink as a list that, this is for a dance example, that Ms. Karinishi and I developed. And then that we crosswalked with the New York State Learning Standards, and the gaps were filled as needed. And this, all teachers in the district, in the arts program, had worked on this and began working on, to the right, the progression maps. So now we are in the process of identifying the progression benchmarks for each grade level, and teachers are identifying the what, the why, the what, and the how. And so the how is where we're going to really, really understand and create those assured experiences. So what are the assured experiences that they're going to experience at the end of each grade level? So this process has sparked meaningful conversations related to instruction, organization, and logistics. For example, the progression maps have potential to support our work in creating assured experiences for students. They have potential to create personalized assessments. They support students in charting their progress. They can serve as an instructional guide and prompt meaningful discussions during vertical and horizontal articulation meetings, as well as during student grade level transition meetings. While there is always room for improvement, the reason why we have a robust and wonderful arts program is because there is a rich progress process in place. Working with intentionality leads to students' growth and greater success. So because we are North Shore, and at North Shore we are forward thinking, I'm looking at Dr. Z, there are next steps. So our plan is to study our 4th through 12th grade choral program. We would like to study the Universal Design for Learning framework because it has massive potential to support students' growth. We want to expand opportunity for students to have authentic learning experiences. We have to explore creative solutions to increase the time elementary students have learning how to play their instruments and develop their music literacy skills. And we would like to explore creative options for creating appropriate elementary instrumental classrooms. So I'd like to leave you with this quote: "Every human is a creator." Fostering creativity and innovation is at the heart of the work the Fine and Performing Arts Department does. And I look forward to continuing to partner with you and with my teachers who are here tonight. Thank you very much. On constructing creative pathways in which students can discover their dreams. A few people I do want to thank. Obviously, the Board of Education, Dr. Zublionis, Dr. Smythe, Mr. Pappas, for your support and collective commitment to arts education at North Shore. I mean that sincerely. I also want to thank Arts Angels, our community, and students we serve. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Ms. Morello and the Fine and Performing Arts teachers. They are the most valuable resource, and I am truly, truly honored to work with a talented, dynamic, and dedicated team. I want to give a very special thank you to Mr. Larson, Ms. DeLima, Ms. Hackman, Ms. Curran, Mr. Haas, Mr. Falco, Ms. Viola, Mr. Blake, Mr. Hill, and Ms. Larson, who's here in the audience with us, Mr. Kay, and once again, Dr. Smythe, for their support with tonight's presentation. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everyone.
All right, thank you. Dahlia, that was really impressive. You are an academic, man. You are one impressive person. That was incredible. Who would like to go first? I'll look on this side. Go ahead.
I don't have much because that was so impressive, so comprehensive. It was just a delight to be able to hear it from you, because I had the opportunity to look at the presentation beforehand and I was already impressed, but then you gave us so much more in that presentation, so thank you so much. I love everything, all of it. I was so impressed with the Midsummer Night's Dream, so I just want to say that, you know, every time I go and I hear whether it's elementary school performances, middle school, high school, I'm always blown away. It's, you know, the things that your teachers accomplish with these students is just amazing. And it was nice to be able to hear about the general music as well. Just congratulations to all of you for doing such an amazing job. Thank you. I was really impressed with the authentic learning experiences and the children working on the props. And I was just wondering, are there more opportunities like that? Could there be, you know, could they work on costumes? Could they, you know, are there other ways to and it's also, you know, interdisciplinary as well. There's just so many great opportunities there, and I'm wondering if we can expand upon that.
So absolutely, it's something we're always looking to do. We do in the theater program, our students, there's a costume crew, there's a light and sound crew, and there's the soundboard crew, and they run the show. So we have a consultant who will come in and teach them and set up and teach them how to set up the lights, but that person is not present when the show's in process. The show is run by kids. The directors and the advisors sit in the back. There's no adult on board during our performances. It's really quite impressive. I've seen it over the years, and it really is magic.
Thank you. I had the pleasure of seeing Midsummer Night's Dream. I've had the pleasure of seeing most of the shows in recent, and I know going in every time I'm gonna be blown away, and every time I'm more blown away than I thought I was gonna be. I have high expectations, and even higher every time, and even still, my expectations are blown walking in. And this time, in particular, the performances were spectacular, and the kids gave their all, and there's words fail. But those sets and the trees and the fire and the whole thing, it was true magic. My my question when you were speaking that I don't know the answer to, and I know anecdotally the rigor, right, of putting on that show and what a commitment it is for the people who participate. I had just a couple questions about, is after school a necessity for these general ed kids who are part of it? Like where the line can be, and could it be if you're, can you drop in for only the after school portion and not take the class? And what I kind of want to understand that landscape a little bit more.
Absolutely, that's a great question. So absolutely, all the kids who worked on the set were not just the kids in the props and the performing classes. So their crew is way bigger. We had a total of 75 students participate, and they were not all on stage. And they were not all in props and performing objects class. It is a huge undertaking, and there's so many hands on deck. It's really a safe space, and they just love doing it. So kids do not have to be taking a theater class during the day. They do not have to be part in any arts program during the day. This is open to the entire high school community and middle school.
And is the reverse true? Like, for example, if you're, maybe this is a poor example, so forgive me, if you're an athlete and you can't participate in the arts program in the rigorous way that it calls on, but yet you could maybe take this general art class and then have this itch scratched and participate in this way. Is that a pathway?
We actually have a lot of athletes who participate both in sports, and Don and I have, Don is not here. Don and I have these conversations all the time, and we kind of like, what are the compromises? Can they make it here? They get here at this time, and there's lots of, it's the North Shore way. We make it work so that students can fulfill all their dreams. So yes.
And then my other question was, like in your example, I see that one of these, one of the works that you put up is written in Spanish, and I am so curious why that is.
That's because we have an L student in our props and performing arts class, objects class.
I thought that was
Yes.
yes.
But I thought I was seeing. I must be seeing it wrong.
Maybe it's interdisciplinary,
Yeah,
and
wow.
maybe the Spanish class is using this as I just wasn't 100% sure.
Yes.
And then in terms, and I probably should know the answer to this, I'm assuming that these progress maps are then shared with the kids in an age appropriate way so that they can understand how they're being assessed. And, can you talk about the assessment process and how they're utilized so kids can succeed and know where the benchmarks are, if they're not?
We're in the very beginning stages of creating these progression maps, and we haven't gotten to those conversations. We're literally constructing them as we speak. Well, not right at this moment, but so those are going to be really great conversations for us to have. And as I said, they're going to be an instructional guide and really be supportive and really being able to do that work.
Great. And then my last question has to do with, I am so curious what your thoughts are in terms of, kids are getting younger earlier or older earlier. Am I saying that right? And I'm curious, we have this amazing technology where you're seeing, especially I think with respect to fine arts, are there gaps that we need to fill earlier? This is an honest question, I don't know, in terms of what we're providing and tools that we should be thinking about in terms of the new landscape of what's available and what's needed for kids to be truly successful and grow. It's just such a different world.
It is, and it is something, that's why the curriculum is always being revised, exactly because of what you're saying, because the kids we have today are not the same kids we had before COVID or even 3 years ago. So that's why the curriculum process is continuous, and there's opportunities for teachers to revise them and to look at them within their content-specific teams vertically and horizontally.
Maria. Hi, Dahlia. Wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. I want to just briefly echo the enthusiasm of my fellow trustees for the performances that we see that come out of this program that you're running. It's just, it's awesome. the depth and breadth of what you're doing. Very, very impressive. And I'm so grateful that we're in this district. I have a few questions, and then I might have a challenge for you and the teachers. But I just wanted to pick up on the dance progression maps. On the page that follows, so you have the page that's labeled dance progression maps and the page right behind it with the how columns. I just want to understand, are those how columns matched? Are those also 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grades? I understand this is in progress, so we're probably looking
So
at
the progression max is what we're expecting students to learn and
Right.
what they're going to be doing, that the assured experience by the end of that grade level.
right. So
So that at the end of each grade level, this is what our hope is what they're going to achieve.
So the reason that one caught my eye, it just was so honestly personally gratified to see in each level that you identify specific anatomy structures that inhibit and enhance performance. So the way I read that, what that meant to me is that students who might have physical disabilities that could prevent or inhibit their performances are in fact still accommodated, still and taught to understand themselves and not perhaps be discouraged by a physical disability from,
Exactly. So the first progression map, the progression map that I shared is just one performance goal. And that was actually ironically on health, and understanding your body, the limitations, and how far you can push yourself. All while you have to be safe, because dancing, as I've mentioned before, is not only an artistic pursuit, but it is an athletic achievement.
And it struck me though that I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it goes beyond dance. I don't need to tell you, right? I mean, but certain instruments that students might have, certain movements that a bow might, a string player might have to make, and there could be challenges there.
Yes.
Recently had to look into this for personal reasons, and I became aware that there are instruments out there that are made slightly differently, but they're still the same instrument, and just in order to accommodate certain physical disabilities. It's fascinating, actually, and it's just so lovely to see that you're addressing it.
Yeah, and so just so you know, since we have our two band teachers here, they will tell you that their progression maps are going to be a little bit more longer because they're creating one for each instrument.
Yeah.
And so that this is a very long-term process and undertaking for the department. And so the implications of it and the potential for it will probably continue to grow as we dig deeper into creating these progression maps.
I'm just really grateful for the depth and breadth with which you're approaching this. Okay, give me half a second here. While I'm looking for the other notes I wanted to make, something came up while you were just talking with Trustee Cashman, the young man who arrived last year in his baseball uniform to play in the orchestra.
That's right.
Just in the nick of time. So yeah, it's pretty great that we have athletes, kids who really cross the lines. Okay, so the thing I need your help, yours and your teacher, your faculty. I'm coming at this. I'm really fascinated. Oh, I can't find the page. I'm sorry. Beat
sculpting at the high school?
Here it is. Got it. Yes, the beat sculpting project. If you can just talk a little bit about in the context, this is building on this incredible general music progression that our students take, right? And I don't really mean this as a challenge. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this conversation for 5 minutes. These students, sorry, I don't even know quite how to ask the question. They have not necessarily ever played an instrument. They're using their computer as an instrument. Is that right?
So some of the students in the high school music production engineering class have actually been in the program and perhaps left the program because of other demands in their schedule. And so in the actual class, they are learning to play real instruments too. So right now we have guitars, there's drums, not only just the music using modern music technologies, but there are also other, the opportunity to use their drums and not just digital.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is that when we created this course, it was really for the population of kids who didn't have a pathway. And this year in the class are musicians from our ensembles, because this is the future and this is what colleges are looking for as well. If you have this class under your belt, it really looks good on what I call your college resume as a musician. But it's also a career pathway. And so, they have this wonderful opportunity to continue to express themselves musically, through these different music technologies. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, I actually felt it, and I was thinking, I mean, this technological advancement is something we promote. We live. This is the world we live in. I'm sort of then stepping back though, and being of a certain age, remembering when it started, sort of early days when it started, and synthesized music started to replace pit orchestras. And, musicians were somewhat, some musicians are put out of work, right? The ones who are not at that, the ones who are replaced by the computers. So I'm just trying to balance this. It's so interesting. At the same, I'm struggling, and I apologize for being so inarticulate. There's this incredible opportunity happening, and I'm wanting to make sure that we still have the actual hands-on, you know how to play your trombone, you know how to, play your cello.
Absolutely.
You're not, and yet for the kids who have that urge to create music, but aren't necessarily, that kind of hands-on musician, they do get this outlet. I'm just trying to have the conversation, not in any
you're
other way.
You're describing it perfectly.
Yeah.
So we offer still a robust instrumental program and choral program, and this is an additional opportunity for both our students who are in ensembles and those who don't create music that way. That's something that they struggle with, because they love music, but they really love technology, and they love coding, and they love the science behind creating music in this way. So in the traditional North Shore Forum, we created an opportunity for those kids to be able to express themselves through music in a non-traditional way.
Thank you for stating what I was trying to get at. I mean, this breadth of opportunity is just incredible. Really grateful to you and incredible faculty. Thanks.
Thank you. I remember last year when you presented, it was equally high level and amazing. And I remember saying to you, I want more of this. And I want to say the same thing. I want more of this. Like this department, you see the evolution, right? Like this is, and it's, it goes back, precedes you, right? And I can speak to it because I was part of the music program here, but what it has become is really unbelievable. And I know it's not stopping here too. So I have a bunch of different questions. I actually, before you started talking about it, I was going to ask this question. How restrictive are these New York State standards? Because I know at least in elementary school, the music program really did seem to change once they were instituted. I'm curious.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, like how restrictive are the New York State standards, like the core curriculum standards?
Not at all, actually, because if you read when you read the standards, the process standards are create, produce, perform, right?
Right.
And respond and connect. And those are all the things that are innately part of learning music. You can't do that without those process standards. So actually arts educators wrote the new New York State Arts Learning Standards that were implemented in 2017. And so it was a whole committee from New York City public school teachers. I think Mr. Tillis himself was on that committee. But it was really grounded in what the creation process is. And so it's so funny what the exercise that we did was I actually asked the teachers, do not look at the standards when you're creating these goals that we want kids to leave with. And that's why we did the crosswork afterwards, because we know that those standards and the work we do here align. And where we don't align, and where we found the gaps, we fill them. So they're not restrictive in the sense of like restricting us from doing the work that kids need to do to learn their instruments, to be creative thinkers, to be able to respond and analyze music, and to be able to create and connect. So I think that actually they're quite brilliant.
That's that's amazing. I would have thought you would have said something totally different. So that's great. I'm curious at the high school level whether you're seeing students drop out of the music program, high achieving students who are interested in really having high GPAs because there aren't those added points.
It's funny you should say that. We're actually talking, we just met with Dan Dougherty and spoke with Eric Contreras, and we're thinking about honor points for kids in our ensembles at the high school, because it'll lift their GPA. They invest so much time in learning their instrument at the high school level. I think, am I answering your question?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is one thing. But we are seeing some kids struggling too because of the time lost in instruction at the elementary level. That cohort, I think that you mentioned a few board meetings that we used to have the instrumental lessons every week, and now we have them once every 6 days. And actually at a meeting when we were discussing the progression charts, the secondary teachers mentioned that they're beginning to see the impact of the decrease of that time, which is why it's on our next steps.
Okay, that's on my list too, about the increasing instrumental time at the lower
elementary level, which is the foundation, because at that level is where they learn how to not just play, but they have to hold it. It's physical, it's cognitive, and that is the foundation.
So at that level, they're not totally compliant with practicing. So it's like the in school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is so important. I'm also interested in going back to the high school. How does in the students who are very academically oriented, where they're taking IP, AP, how does that impact their ability to take all these amazing electives?
Well, that is something I think that came up at a previous board meeting, and something that we're starting to look at as an administrative team, and thinking about the schedule in general, because we do offer a lot of great opportunities, and students do struggle to be able to take them, and it is a big frustration for them. In the department, one thing that has helped us is starting the offering studio art at the middle school, so that can then clear the pathway for them at the high school to jump into our advanced art classes, because we actually have a sequence and a pathway in the visual arts at the high school. There's a multitude of classes that they can go in very different directions, with photography, sculpture, drawing, and painting. So taking studio art at the middle school actually has helped, students who, are involved playing an ensemble and want to continue that, but they can't do that and be a visual artist and take advanced classes. So that was one way we mediated, we kind of resolved that, but there's still challenges with that, and certainly something that the administrative team is in discussion about.
I'm also interested, and that was like, you talked about universal design and learning, then Maria kind of mentioned the instruments. In what other ways are you looking to incorporate UDL?
Well, like I said before, this is something that we haven't started
Right.
yet. It is next steps. I started the conversation with one of the teams, but then realized that our progression maps, the progression maps are going to take a lot longer. So we're trying to get through the progression maps this year, and then next year start the discussion about the Universal Design Framework as another way to support us in supporting a variety of learners.
Okay. And then in terms of special education students, I know we've sort of talked about this before, the idea that they have so many other related services that fill up their schedule. And have we, over the last year, have we made like any progress on that, whether with 0 periods or?
So unfortunately, that is something that we still have to look at because the demand is, for kids who have to do a lot of extra things. I know because I was a parent of one of them, and I had to make choices and along with my child. And that is, again, something that we do need to continue to look into, because I agree, it is important that all students have the same opportunities.
We need to keep doing that work. I think, the props and performing objects. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, unbelievable. So great. The summer shows, like when we look at the summer program, I mean, when I moved here, there was a summer program that I think was sponsored by the Viking Foundation that was unbelievable. And I think the funding was lost, but maybe there is a way to bring it back now that we're doing a paid, yeah. Whether you brought in an outside vendor or whether,
I'm sorry, are you referring to a summer theater program? I think those Arts Angels headed that.
that's
Yes,
who did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
You're right. It was amazing. And final thing, Kate McKinnon, she did go to school here. It would be great if we started having like an improv program, a comedy program, something because that is a little bit different. We haven't done that yet.
We actually have at the middle school a comedy and theater class. It's a cycle class that our high school theater class teacher teaches it.
Wow.
And it is focused on comedic acting, which is very developmentally appropriate for middle school students.
Very good. All right. Thank you so much, Dahlia. Are there any other ways that we can support you?
Yes, and just your continuous support, your great questions, you're giving us the opportunity to go back and like really think about some of our next steps, and coming forth with you next year with some of the ways we've resolved those is the biggest help. And obviously everything you do every day on behalf of not just my department, but the entire school district and community is much appreciated.
God, well, the same could be said for all of you in the faculty. I mean, the program's amazing. Everyone should be so proud of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I am proud of them.
Yeah. And you, I mean, I'm going to go on and on. Forget it. I'm going to stop. But thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
All right. Time for public comments. Please come down to the microphone. Name and town of residence. Okay. All right, seeing none, I will close public comments and we will move on. Oh, do we have someone? Ah, come on up.
Name's Jason Hill. I'm the elementary band director at Glen Head. But the question and kind of comment / plug actually had to do with Dawn's presentation. So for the last 5 years, I've been a pickleball ambassador with USA Pickleball. I'm a certified instructor. And pickleball is the fastest growing sport now for the 3rd year in a row. And if anybody's interested in maybe going from badminton to pickleball, I'd love to to help you out with that or give you a free clinic or something like that. And I'm going to reach out to Don too and see if I can support him at all as
We-
well.
We would love that.
Yes, yes.
Last year we mentioned pickleball, like it
Okay.
was on our list. No one mentioned it tonight, but absolutely.
Pickleball, we mentioned it again.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
And I
you.
was excited to hear about maybe some of the possibilities of expanding the facilities at the high school. I know there are a lot of people in the community that play pickleball. The kids are talking about it more and more at school. I think it's exciting to think about a bubble in the tennis courts and maybe involving more, for example, women sports and doubles play. Tennis courts are easily converted to temporary pickleball courts as well. And certainly there's lack of space, I think, in the district. Looking at the Glenwood Landing facilities and the amount of land there and being able to build away from homes and things like that. And you're really seeing pickleball take off across the country at the pro level. And it's even really starting to gain a foothold at the collegiate level. So I think it's only a matter of time before we start thinking about preparing our high school athletes for that opportunity as well.
Right.
That's my 2
Excellent.
cents.
Thank you for bringing that up. Any other public comments? I was just joking before. I am now closing public comments and we'll move on to some actions here. I'm going to take 10, A through F, but I think A is a special one with the resignation of Dr. Rufa.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to recognize Peter Rufa, Dr. Peter Rufa, our principal of Glen Head School, who is leaving us for an assistant superintendent position in another district. Very proud of him and also very grateful for the work that he has done with us since July of 2019. He's been with us through some of the most difficult times that we've gone through as educators and educational leaders, and did really amazing work to build positive relationships and create a great sense of community during that time at Glen Head School. I know the faculty and staff at Glen Head and the parents are going to miss him very, very much, and they're concerned, and those are very tough shoes to fill. So I look forward to staying in connection with him as a colleague, a central office colleague. And also, working with him for another couple of weeks to ease the transition at Glen Head. Thank you, Peter.
And so I do also have to ask for a motion. Yeah, second. Thank you. And I love Dr. Roof. I was on his hiring committee. He was our principal. I'm so sad to see him leave, but so happy for him too that he is, going to expand his skill set someplace else. Any other questions or comments? 10, A through F. Okay. I'll call the vote. All in favor? Okay, excellent. We'll move on to action 11. This is our administrative contract. It's going to run till 2027. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay. All in favor? All right. That passes. Excellent. I'm going to take 12 and 13 together. This is exciting, everybody. Sorry, everyone shouldn't have left. This is very exciting. Stay for 1 second. Okay. Do we do a motion or no?
Motion.
Not yet. Okay, second. Got it. All right, this is very exciting. Action 12 is the acceptance of a donation from the middle school PTO for our new dog therapy program. And I have special photos. You guys can pass this way. This is a dog that was just born, that is 6 weeks old, that is a contender for the dog therapy program. Okay. And so this is super exciting. And I'm glad we all got to see this. So
Can I make a comment?
Yes,
I've been
please.
hearing about this program now for about 6 weeks because my daughter's in the Animal Rights Club, and they put together the proposal to the PTSO, and so excited. They are so excited. The students are really, really excited. So it's a great thing.
Dr. Kate has been working on it, and
thank you,
Ram.
middle school PTSO.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Okay. Yes. Go ahead. Oh, vote. Okay. We have a motion. All in favor? Okay. So cute. All right. Action. We're on 14 and 15 together. Okay.
Motion.
Second, we got it. All in favor? All right, excellent. Action 16, we're gonna do A, B, and C.
Motion.
Okay, I heard a second. All in favor?
Comments? Are
Yes.
comments allowed?
Well, first we gotta, all in favor, everyone voted, we got it.
I'm
Now,
sorry.
comments.
Just comment then, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, it's really a question. I'm sorry, get myself organized here. The Savin contract, I think this is a simple one. I did not ask it sooner, and I did read it, so I think I know the answer. Just want to verify. So the building survey, is that an opportunity? When I was reading through it, and the board survey really triggered a comment that I think Trustee Colasiopo made our last meeting or the one before about, since we've just finished our coming near the end of wonderful, incredible improvements to our schools. Is there an opportunity as part of this to survey the faculty or the people using these spaces to know how well they're now? I mean, we did all this, we put all this money into supporting the infrastructure, supporting the work of the teachers in the spaces. I'm just wondering how do we know that the teachers are actually getting everything out of it that we want them to?
Yeah, I don't believe that would traditionally be a part
Not
of,
really. Okay.
of that, but I do think it's a good idea to do that, to dovetail a survey process with
right.
that. And I do think because of the district goal, to look at facilities, and also, the planning that I think we need to do in the context of everything else that's going on. So, surveys on that in conjunction with other information data we need to collect.
Okay, and one more quick one. So I'm picturing there are people actually, as the survey is taking place, they're walking into every classroom and they talk about making lists of like maintenance that might be needed. Is it get really detailed? Are they making sure that the door locks are working, for instance, or the windows are opening and closing the way they should? I'm just kind of curious about it.
That we might want to give a background or an update to the board on exactly what it looks like.
It doesn't really have to be accepted.
And I don't, it is a great question. I'm
Yeah.
not sure exactly if it gets down to that level of detail, but they are walking through every single building, every single room.
They are, and I think this is a requirement that every 3 years that we go through a building condition survey for New York State. In between, we do just a visual inspection, which is much smaller. But I think they look at the bigger picture, but they do go through all the buildings and go through all of that. But I'll get more details exactly.
It does make sense. I mean, that it wouldn't be quite, if there's a problem like the door not locking, presumably somebody's reporting that, so not waiting for the 5-year inspection to happen. I realize that. It's just kind of riffing on it. So
Oh yeah, but I think
Yeah.
it's the bigger point of like how fine detail
Yeah.
are we going to see
Yeah.
in that report. And we'll provide the last one, I think,
I
and
was
we can
gonna
look
say,
at that,
the
and that
last
might give us a
report.
sense too.
Provide that.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor? Okay, excellent. We're gonna do 17 and 18 together, approval of stipulation of settlement and the IEP is,
Motion.
oh man, okay. So, questions, comments? All in favor? Okay, excellent. Unfinished business. I'm gonna just say Shelley, they're killer. The social media, all that stuff is excellent. It's amazing. And every time I see something, I'm like, oh my God, it's so great. I totally want to text you, but I don't because I leave you alone. But you're doing a great job. Any other questions or comments?
I think I do have one unfinished business. I'm sorry. Just really quickly, I know we had brought it up and I can't remember where. As it gets colder out, I'm thinking about indoor recess and just like in the middle school, I know space is really tricky. And I know we talked about like maybe even coordinating with the middle school PTSO to get like, I don't know, foosball or knock hockey or whatever they need. I just wanted to bring it up a new business. I'm sorry. I didn't let you know in advance.
Oh, that's okay. I did speak to Dr. O'Hara and Dr. Mabrook about it, and we think actually out here in the new foyer, that would be a good space. And they're compiling a list and they're getting some student input. And then we're going to connect with the PTO, see, what they're able to do. And, the district would support, any other part of that too. Yeah. The one thing that I wish we had, and perhaps one day we will, a covered canopy like the high school courtyard has, because even on a relatively warm, even like light rain day, you could go outside and do that like you can in that space. So we'll look to that in the future. But we have this great new space that I think can serve for that.
We have a lot of tents.
We do, yeah. I mean, I think that's something we look. We were talking about this last night in a committee meeting about outdoor learning. We haven't talked about it in a while, but we can see if that can be put up outside too. Yep.
New business. Or anybody else have unfinished business? No. Okay, new business.
The only thing I want to acknowledge as part of seeing the incredible play, I also was able to enjoy the incredible new bathrooms at the high school. And I think that they're really gorgeous and I'm really excited about them. And I wanted to share that with I wanted to say it, and I wanted to use this platform to express my enthusiasm.
That actually would be a great social media post.
Yes.
Bathrooms in the auditorium.
It's so professional. It really gives the feeling of like a true theater experience. And it makes formerly the reverse was very challenging in terms of the limitations of how few available bathrooms there were. And now it's just really nice.
Wow.
Excited about bathrooms.
Yeah, because I do think like the public invested in this update, like, right? Let them see what's going on in the buildings. Yeah. Like, too bad we couldn't do like a video, like almost like HGTV style or like one of those.
You could do a reel.
Something like that. Yeah, that would be so funny. Other new. Yeah.
My only other new business was inspired by what Ava was saying and the comment that I might have made if that were appropriate then, which is when we do make a update. It sounds like their students are curious about the updates of our construction. Thank you. Maybe we could invite the press to also help to share any information that we're going to. And by press, I mean the Viking View.
Yeah, I think they have written articles about the construction in the past too, right?
I think maybe the last one. Yeah.
They did talk about the turf and some other.
We have some new business. The calendar. You gave us 2 drafts.
That's right.
And I wanted to share with you that a resident did contact me by mail, suggesting a little upset that we don't list the specific holidays in our calendar, which we haven't done for over 20 years, but kind of suggested a middle path where we list only the days of remembrance like Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Now, I know that's like kind of a passion project for you, Dr. Z, those groups. I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about your commitment to that.
Yeah, and I'm a little obsessed with trying to get veterans into the schools. We did have some veterans come and speak to our students about a month ago. Mr. Gordon set that up, and it was actually originated by a phone call to me from a veteran who's a parent in the district, Glen Head parent, and it was a great experience. And personally, just being the son of a military officer, the son-in-law of a military officer, a lot of military officers, and talking to other veterans and having the opportunity to, I just think there's a lot of learning available. But I do want the community to know how much we do on those days. Miss Larson left, but she has organized an amazing Memorial Day concert at Seacliff School that happens outside and the community walks up. And we do that in all of our schools, certainly the Memorial Day parades in Seacliff, in Glen Head. That we have every year on the weekends of Memorial Day, and the work we do with our younger students on Veterans Day. So the calendar is very symbolic, and we understand its importance. But I do want to reinforce how important it is in our schools and to me personally.
And we thank the resident for writing. And we encourage all residents to come to public comments or contact us however they wish, including snail mail. Any other new business? All right, so I will adjourn this meeting. We'll see each other very soon.